The moment we've all been suspecting has finally arrived. The man who wants to live forever, Bryan has packaged up his perfectly crafted diet from his $2 million a year protocol so that you can benefit from the comfort of your home. Is this finally the solution that's going to add years to your life to your years, or is it just another company trying to profit from everyone's ultimate fear, death? If you're new around here, my name is Adam. I'm a performance nutritionist, currently pursuing a doctorate, an everyday athlete looking to become the fittest and healthiest that I can be, and like you, I don't want to die, at least anytime soon. In this video, I'm going to review the Blueprint stack, not from a personal anecdotal experience, but from a scientific perspective as someone who's conducted research, deeply cares about optimal health and performance, and particularly those things that actually work. If you haven't seen it yet, Bryan released a video on his channel announcing this stack and these products, and he explains everything in detail. And on first viewing of this video and then looking at the stack, I really struggle to see how this is positioned as an alternative to a diet. It's 1 low-calorie meal replacement shake per day, some olive oil, and the supplement stack. It does have a blueberry nut mix, which is the equivalent to 60 grams of blueberries and 3 walnuts, which I thought was pretty stingy, but that's just my opinion. I got the sense that this is not just your average pills that you can buy over the counter. It attempts to separate itself from other supplement companies by using phrases like it contains therapies. And the first thing that I think of when I hear that is that it's something that you do in a medical setting, whereas your typical supplements, you think of your GNC with some oversized meathead or bodybuilder. The reality is, no matter what way their marketing team spins it or whatever jargon they use, Blueprint now is at least in part another supplement company. So the stack is divided into 3 categories depending on how much you're willing to fork out, with the full Blueprint stack costing you $361 for a 30-day supply. Since the full stack contains 7 supplement blends, I won't go into every single ingredient in every product because that would hold the record for being the most boring video on YouTube. Instead, I'll look at the core products of the stack, which is the olive oil, the cacao or cocoa, I don't know how to pronounce that properly, I always mix that one up, and the longevity mix. And I want to give Bryan and his team some props here because they list every ingredient in the amounts, and most companies don't do that. It also made it really easy for me to go and find the research that Bryan alludes to in his videos and on the website. To start with the easy ones, extra virgin olive oil and cocoa, they do have a lot of good human evidence behind them, particularly around the area of heart health, and any high quality version of these is going to suffice. And if your source is from Blueprint, then that is absolutely great. Currently, I'm in Spain where they have a lot of olive trees everywhere, and this locally produced olive oil is pretty much as good as you're going to get. Given the amount of quacks online who promote that people should eat more butter and lard as some way of improving your health, when in fact it does the opposite, it's really positive to see that Bryan and his team are advocating actual health promoting fats and foods. But I feel this is where the ship starts to veer off course, like a slight wind that just nudges it in the wrong direction, only for the ship to end up in Brazil instead of Miami. Let's look at the longevity mix because this one is the main part of all stacks. It claims to be everything that your body's asked for. It's difficult to confirm or refute the claims because it's really nebulous and it invites the assumption that it will just help you live longer and maintain a better quality of life. There are these boxes on the page that just have words in them. I guess legally it would make it easy for the company to say that they didn't technically claim anything, they just grouped words together. If you ask me, is actually pretty smart. So longevity mix contains some pretty well researched ingredients in mainly effective dosages, or mostly effective dosages: creatine, ashwagandha, L-theanine, and some taurine. Some of those, such as creatine, have greater effects than others, and you could argue that indirectly they improve your longevity, whether it was improved strength from creatine, or better sleep from ashwagandha and L-theanine, or slightly lower blood pressure from taurine. Then you have your more speculative ingredients, the types that only companies trying to sell them really push, the ones that either have limited research in terms of the number of studies or practical application, or simply the ones that have no human research at all. Take for example glucosamine sulfate, often promoted as the savior for your bones and joints, and while there are a handful of studies looking at it, most of the outcomes are mixed, with the positive findings being very minor improvements in people with pain who have osteoarthritis, which is a joint disease. There's no convincing evidence that this means it's preventative in any way, or that people are trying to future-proof themselves from getting osteoarthritis or joint pain are really going to benefit. Or hyaluronic acid, the stuff that's used in lip fillers. There are 2 research papers in Asian adults showing the potential in skin improvement when taken orally, but these studies were only weeks long with small sample sizes. Even the authors recommended further large-scale trials and commented on how lifestyle can impact skin and needed to be controlled for. Or the other non-placebo control study in which humans taking calcium alpha-ketoglutarate showing a supposed decrease in biological age. The research used non-disclosed formulas for calculations and was funded by companies who profited from a positive outcome. Imagine I told you there was research showing that AG1 works and it was funded by AG1. You wouldn't really fully trust it, would you? Well, this research actually exists. Having a placebo is also really important because if we're told that something that we're going to take is going to have a positive effect, then typically it does, at least for a short while. Taking this paper looking at expectancy potency effect. When lifters were told that they were taking oral steroids, even though it was a sugar pill, they gained significant strength on the lifts, but lost it all afterwards. When it came to glycine, I couldn't find any human or animal study for that matter that used the dosage in the longevity mix. There was some research that suggested 2 to 3 times this dose had a small impact on sleep, but I did find one paper that used 1200 milligrams paired with 1200 milligrams of NAC. So I went back to Bryan's stack, the list on his website, to check if any products contain this amount of NAC. Lo and behold, one of the ingredients in one of the other supplements contained this amount of NAC. So this paper was essentially looking at how these supplements impact markers of cellular health and balance, exactly what Bryan is interested in. The participants were given a sugar pill as a placebo, or else a low, medium or high dose of this glycine NAC combo. The dosage in the blueprint stack would be equal to the lowest dose in this trial. And what the researchers found was that none of the doses differed from the placebo in terms of their impact on cellular health markers. Using something called a post hoc analysis, or basically just more statistical tests, they did see that there was marginal increases in an antioxidant called glutathione in older, unhealthy adults, but not the healthy ones. But here's the thing, this was only in the medium or high dose group, not the group that had the same dose as the blueprint stack. Maybe I'm wrong, and there's some research that I'm just not aware of, but this seems a little bit misleading. Maybe it's in here for the minor sleep benefits, but then it's underdosed based on all of the trials and evidence that's currently available.
You may be aware that a certain ingredient is good, or that you want it in your diet, but you need to make sure that it is a clinically relevant dose, which means you want just the amount that was proven to work in the scientific study.
Just the amount that was proven to work in the scientific study.
You know the whole phrase, people who live in glass houses shouldn't throw rocks? It really feels like that applies here. I feel like it was a bad move calling out AG1 when there's quite a few limitations in Bryan's own product that maybe he's unaware of. You need to ask yourself, am I the relevant population? Was there a significant impact in the marker or the outcome that I'm looking to improve? And has this research been repeated multiple times? In a previous video, I talked about a supplement called D-aspartic acid that I took when I was a teenager. One study came out showing its testosterone boosting effects, and every supplement company then starts selling it, only for research later down the line to show that it actually decreased testosterone, and nobody sells it anymore. And that is the problem with basing practical application off just one single study. I'm fully aware that Bryan has a team of experts that help with his formulation. Realistically, there's probably 2, maybe 3 people who research the ingredients. I don't think that these individuals aren't reading what I read or interpret it any different than I do, but Blueprint, or at least this supplement division of Blueprint, is not a non-profit organization. I know how academia works, and I've also worked within large companies like Microsoft and Amazon who all have visions beyond profit, but it's still the bottom line. If the company doesn't profit, it ceases to exist along with all its employees. Imagine this, you're one of the 30 or so experts on the team. This business tycoon Bryan Johnson wants you to come up with this new novel formula that will make money. He's an entrepreneur after all. Making money is in his DNA, even if he doesn't need more money. So you read through all the available literature, but beyond a handful of supplements, you know that longevity really comes down to diet and exercise. But you can't go back to the marketing team with that, because a creatine and magnesium supplement won't sell because everyone else is selling it. So you speculate, picking up on fringe findings, heavily based on mechanisms or animal studies, because if you don't, you won't be on the payroll come next season. The marketing team love it. It gets formulated and produced, scripted into a YouTube video ready for desperate souls to pick it up. And some of these sitting ducks buy it, even though they might feel like it's a bit of a financial stretch. And because they invested so much of their discretionary income into it, they say, you know what, I better start exercising and eating well, otherwise I'm wasting my money. Then they lose weight, they get healthier, and they attribute a large part of that to the unproven blueprint stack, ending up on the sales page as another testimonial. Fundamental attribution error. We saw it recently with the UFC owner Dana White attributing a massive health improvement to lots of these bullshit interventions, when in reality it was largely due to his giving up of alcohol, improved diet, weight loss, and testosterone replacement therapy. Now, I don't think Bryan is a bad guy, but if you're going to release supplements and make claims that are not backed by robust science, then you're in for scrutiny no matter who you are. People tend to give supplement companies these get out of jail free cards. If your doctor prescribed you something that was unproven or completely ineffective, there could be some serious repercussions. And although medicine is not the same thing as supplements, the individuals who often complain about how the pharma industry is being driven by profit typically don't realize that the supplement industry is a $380 billion a year market. When you look across the full spectrum of the Blueprint line, there are some ingredients that that have been shown to be effective, but many have not, and that's typically how supplement companies get you. They hook you in with the stuff that's effective, you've heard of before, and they win you over with the sales pitch of the speculation, a kind of bait and switch if you will. If you want to buy the stack, then that's completely down to you. I won't lose sleep if you do or if you don't. I'm just giving you my 2 cents, and you're also free to disagree. I could be wrong, and I'm always open to being wrong, but I don't think I am in this case. If you feel like you're doing everything already in your power to optimize your health and your performance, and you think this might be the cherry on top, then maybe you have a stronger case. But hear me out. A, I highly doubt you're doing everything you can in your power. B, with many of the ingredients that do show some effectiveness, it's typically in unhealthy people such as glucosamine. And if you're already looking after your health, then you're likely to have sufficient amounts of these essential nutrients such as B vitamins, omega-3 and magnesium throughout your diet. I know Bryan promotes eating well and exercising, but it's also important to remember that he also takes medical grade drugs off label, does a bunch of other interventions, and has a team specifically helping him. In my opinion, over-the-counter supplements only contribute a tiny fraction of his results. He's extremely fit, he sleeps like a baby, and has body fat levels of an athlete. Don't overlook how significant this is. The same people who are going to buy this are the same people who buy AG1 or Element, often as a way to convince themselves that they're making progress while also avoiding what actually works. I know how you feel. I literally have spent thousands over the years on supplements that were a complete waste of money, but there is no quick fix or bottle solution for optimal health and fitness. It's not easy, but if you want a clear path on what actually works to improve your health and longevity, then check out this video that I made here.